New Jerusalem Bible, all of the ancient canon of the Bible. Genesis 14:20, Creator of heaven and earth, and blessed be God Most High, for putting your enemies into your clutches. And Abraham gave him a tenth of everything. The king of Sodom said to Abraham, "Give me their people and take their possessions for yourself." But Abraham replied to the king of Sodom, "I swear by God Most High, Creator heaven and earth, not one thread, not one sandal strap will I take what is yours, for you to be able to say, 'I made Abraham rich.' For myself nothing except what the troop have used up, and the share due to men came to me. Eshol, Ener, and Mermi, let them take their share." The divine promises and covenant. Sometime later, the word of Yahweh came to Abraham in a vision. "Do not be afraid, Abraham. I am your shield, and I shall give you a very great reward." "For Yahweh," Abraham replied, "what use are your gifts? I am going on my way childless, since you have given me no offspring." Abraham continued, "A member of the household will be my heir." And Yahweh's word came to him in reply, "Such a one will not be your heir. No, your heir will be the issue of your own body." Then taking him outside, he said, "Look up at the sky and count the stars, if you can, just so you will be descendants be." He told him. Abraham put his faith in Yahweh, and this he was reckoned to him as uprightness. He then said to him, "I am Yahweh, who brought you out of Ur and Chaldeans, to give you this country as your possession." "Lord Yahweh," Abraham replied, "how can I know I shall be possessed of this?" He then said to him, "Bring me a 3-year-old heifer, a 3-year-old she-goat, and a 3-year-old ram, a turtle dove, and a young pigeon." He brought him all these, split the animals down the middle, and placed them in half opposite of the other. But the birds he did not divide, and whenever the birds of prey swooped down on the carcasses, Abram drove them off. Now, as the sun is the point of the setting, the trance fell on Abram, and on deep dark dreads descended on him. Then Yahweh said to Abram, "Know this for certain, that your descendants will be exiles in the land of their own, and be enslaved and oppressed for 400 years. But I shall bring judgment on the nation that enslaves them, and then after this they will leave with many possessions. For your part, you will join your ancestors in peace. You will be buried at a happy old age. In the fourth generation they will come back here, for until the iniquity of the Amorites will not have reached its full extent. When the sun had set and was dark, they prepared a smoking fire pot and a flaming torch passing between the animal species. That day Yahweh made a covenant with Abraham in these terms: "To your descendants I give this country, from the river Egypt to the great river, to the river Euphrates, to the Kenites, the Kezanites, and the Kadamites, and the Hittites, and the Perizzites, and the Rephaim, the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Girgashites, and the Jebusites." At the birth of Ishmael, Abraham's wife Sarah had borne him no child, but he had an Egyptian slave girl called Hagar. So he said to Abraham, "Listen now, since Yahweh has kept me from having children, go to my slave girl. Perhaps I shall have children through her." And Abraham took Sarah's advice. Thus, after Abraham lived in the land of Canaan for 10 years, Sarah took Hagar, her Egyptian slave girl, and gave her to Adam as his wife. He then went to Hagar and conceived. And once he knew she had conceived, her mistress counted her for nothing in her eyes. Then Sarai said to Abram, "This outrage was done to me is your fault. It was I who put my slave girl into your arms, but now she knows that she has conceived. I count for nothing in her eyes. Yahweh judges between me and you." "Very well," Abram said to Sarah, "your slave girl is at your disposal. Treat her as you think it fit." Sarai cornered her, treated her so badly that she ran away from her. The angel of Yahweh found her by the spring in the desert, the spring of the road to Sur. She and Hagar, slave of Sarai, "When have you come from, and where are you going?" I am running away from my mistress, Sarah. She replied. The angel of Yahweh said to her, Go back to your mistress and submit to her. The angel of Yahweh further said to her, I shall make your descendants too numerous to be counted. The angel of Yahweh said to her, Now you have conceived and will bear a son, and you shall name him Ishmael, for Yahweh has heard your cries of distress. A wild donkey of a man he will be, his hands against every man, and every man's hand against him, living his life in defiance of all his kingdom. Hagar gave the name to Yahweh, who had spoken to her. You are El Roi, by which she meant, did I not go on seeing here after him who sees me? This is why he was well called the well of Lahai, Roy. It's between Kadesh and Ber. Hagar bore Adam a son, and Abraham gave his son born by Hagar the name Ishmael. Abraham was 86 years old when Hagar bore Ishmael. The covenant and circumcision. When Abraham was 99 years old, Yahweh appeared to him and said, I am El Shaddai. Live in my presence, be perfect, and I shall grant a covenant between myself and you shall make them numerous. And Abraham proved proud to go down. God spoke to him as follows, For my part, this is my covenant with you, and I will become the father of many nations. And you are no longer to be called Abraham, your name is called Abraham. For I am making you father of many nations. I shall make you exceedingly fertile. I shall make you into nations, and your issues will be kings. I shall maintain my covenant between myself and you, and your descendants after your generation after generation, and this covenant is perpetuity. To be your God and the God of your descendants after you, and to you and your descendants after you. I shall give the country where you are now immigrants the entire land of Canaan, to own in perpetuity, and I shall be their God. God further said to Abram, You and your part must keep my covenant. You and your descendants after you, generation after generation. This is my covenant, which you must keep in between myself and you, and your descendants after you. Every one of your males must be circumcised, and you must circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and that will be the sign of the covenant between myself and you. As soon as he is 8 days old, every one of your males, generation after generation, must be circumcised, including slaves born within the household or brought in forth foreigner of your descent. Whether born in the household or brought, they must be circumcised. My covenant must be marked in your flesh as a covenant in the perpetuity. The uncircumcised male whose foreskin has not been circumcised, that person must be cut off from his people. He has broken my covenant. Furthermore, God said to Abram, As regards to your wife Sarai, you must not call her Sarai, but Sarah. I shall bless her and moreover give you a son by her. I shall bless her, and she will become nations of kings and people who will issue from her. Abraham bowed to the ground and he laughed, thinking to himself, Is this child to be born of a man 100 years old? Will Sarah have a child at the age of 90? Abraham said to God, May Ishmael live in your presence, that will be enough. But God replied, Yes, your wife Sarah will bear a son to you whom you must name Isaac, and I shall maintain my covenant with him, the covenant in perpetuality to be God and the God of his descendants after him. For Ishmael I shall grant your request. I hereby bless him and make him fruitful and exceedingly numerous. He shall be a father of 12 great princes, and I shall make him into a great nation. For my covenant shall maintain with Isaac, whose Sarah will bear to you at this next time this year. When she finished speaking, Abraham, God went up before him. Then Abraham took his son Ishmael, all the slaves born in the household, or whom he had brought, and all the males in the household of Abraham's household, and circumcised their foreskin the same day as God had said to him. Abraham was 99 years old when his foreskin was circumcised. Ishmael and his son was 13 years old when his foreskin was circumcised. Abraham and his son Ishmael were circumcised on the very same day. And all the men of the household who were born in the household and brought them foreigners were circumcised with him. The apparition at Mamre. Yahweh appeared to him at the oak of Mamre, where he was sitting by the entrance of the tent during the hottest part of the day. He looked up and saw there was 3 men standing near him. As soon as he saw them, he ran from the entrance of the tent to the ground and meet them and bowed to the ground. My Lord, he said, I found favor with you. Please do not pass your servant by. Let me have a little water brought, and you can wash your feet and have a rest under the tree. Let me fetch a little bread, and I can refresh yourselves before going further. Now that you have come in your service direction, he replied, you as you say. Abraham heard him then and said to Sarah, quick, knead 3 measures of best flour and make loaves. Then running to the herd, Abraham took a fine tender calf and gave it to the servant for her to prepare it. Then taking curds, milk, and the calf which he had prepared, he laid all before them and ate while they remained standing near them under the tree. Where is your wife Sarah? They replied to him. She is in the tent, they replied. Then his guest said, I shall come back to you next year, and you and your wife have a son. Sarah was listening at the entrance of the tent behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were old, well in the years, and Sarah had ceased to have her monthly periods. So Sarah laughed herself, thinking, now I'm past the age of childbearing, and my husband is an old man. It is a pleasure to come to my way again. But Sarah asked Abraham, why did Sarah laugh and say, I am really going to have a child now that I'm old? Nothing is impossible for Yahweh. I shall come back to you at the same time next year, and Sarah will have a son. Sarah said it did not laugh, lying because she was afraid. But he replied, oh, yes, you did laugh. Abraham intercedes for Sodom. From there the men set out and arrived in the sight of Sodom. When Abraham accompanied them, sped them on their way. Now Yahweh had wondered, shall I go conceal from Abraham what I was going to do? As Abraham will become a great and powerful nation, and all nations on earth will bless themselves by him. For I have singled him out to command his sons and his family after him to keep the way of Yahweh by doing what is upright and just, so that Yahweh may carry out for Abraham what they have promised. Then Yahweh said, the outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is so great, and their sin is so grave, that I should go down and see whether or not their actions are at all as the outcry reaching me would suggest, then I shall know. While the men left there went to Sodom, Yahweh remained in Abraham's presence. And Abraham stepped forward and said, will you really destroy the upright with the guilty? Suppose there are 50 upright people in the city. Will you really destroy it? Will you not spare the place for the sake of the 50 upright in it? Do not think of doing such a thing to put the upright to death with the guilty, so the upright and the guilty fare alike. Is the judge of the whole world not to act justly? Yahweh replied, if I find 50 upright people in Sodom, I shall spare the whole place because of them. Abraham spoke and said, it is presumptuous of me to speak up to the Lord. I am just dust and ashes. Suppose the 50 upright were 5 short. Would you destroy the whole city because of just 5? No, he replied, I shall not destroy it if I had 45 men of them. Abraham persisted and said, suppose there are 40 to be found there. I shall not do it, he replied, for the sake of the 40. Abraham said, I hope the Lord will not be angry when I go so that there are not 30 to be found. I shall not do it, he said, and I'll find 30 there. He said, is it blessing me to find that there are only 23? I should not destroy it, he replied, for the sake of 20. He said, I trust my Lord will not be angry if I speak once more, for there are only 10. I shall not destroy it, replied. When he had finished talking to Abraham, Yahweh went away and Abraham returned home. The destruction of Sodom. When the 2 angels reached Sodom in the evening, Lot was sitting at the gate of Sodom. As soon as Lot saw them, he stood up to greet them and bowed to the ground. My Lord, he said, please come down to your servant's house and stay the night and wash your feet. Then you can make an early start on your journey. No, they said, I swear. But he pressed them so much that they went home and entered his house. He prepared a meal for them, baking unleavened bread, and they had supper. They had not gone to bed when the house was surrounded by the townspeople, the men of Sodom, both young and old, all the people without exception. Calling out to Lot, they said, where are the men who came out to you tonight? Send them out to us that we may have intercourse with them. Lot came out to the door, and having shut the door behind him, he said, please, brothers, do not be wicked. Look at the 2 daughters who are virgins. I am ready to send them out to you. for you to treat as you please, but do nothing to these men, since they are now under the protection of my roof. But they retorted, Stand back. This fellow came here as a foreigner, and now he wants to play the judge. Now we shall treat you worse than them. Then they forced Lot back and moved forward to break the door down. But the man reached out, pulled Lot into the house, and with them the door shut, and they dazzled those who were at the door of the house, one and all, with a blinding light, so they could not find the doorway. The men said to Lot, Have you anyone else here, your sons, your daughters, and all your people in the house city? Take them away, for we are about to destroy this place and to outcry to Yahweh against those in the ground, so loud that Yahweh sent us to destroy it. So Lot went off and spoke to his future sons-in-law who were married to daughters. On your feet, he said, leave this place, for Yahweh is about to destroy the city. But his sons-in-law thought he was joking. When dawn broke, the angels urged on Lot, To your feet, take your wife and 2 daughters who are here, or they be swept away in the ground punishment of the city. And he hesitated. The man seized his hand with the hands of his wife and his 2 daughters. Yahweh, being merciful to him, led him out and left him outside the city. When they had brought him outside, he was told, Flee for your life. Do not look behind you or stop anywhere on the plain. Flee to the hills, or you will be swept away. Oh no, my lord, Lot said to them. Ye have already been very good to your servant, showing me every greater love by saving my life. But I cannot flee to the hills, or disaster will overtake me, and I shall die. That town over there is near enough to flee to, and is small. Let me flee there. After all, it's only a small place, so I'll survive. He replied, I grant you this favor too. I will not be overthrown to the town you speak of. Hurry, flee to the one I cannot do anything until you reach. That is why the town is named Zor. The sun rose over the horizon just as Lot was entering Zor. When Yahweh rained down on Sodom and Gomorrah, brimstone and fire and his own sending, he overthrew those cities and the whole plain and all the people living in the cities and everything that grew there. Lot's wife looked back and was turned to a pillar of salt. The next morning, Abraham hurried to the place where he had stood before Yahweh, and looking towards Sodom and Gomorrah, the whole area of the plain, he saw smoke rising from the ground, like smoke from a furnace. Thus it was said, when God destroyed the cities of the plain, he did not forget Abraham, and he rescued Lot from the midst of the overthrow, when he overthrew the cities where Lot was living. Yay! That's our Bible study for today. Thank you. Have everybody a wonderful, blessed day.